Today I'm here to speak to the members of the Lasallian Foundation, which was founded in 2005 and fund the development and emergency relief projects in the Asia Pacific, including Sri Lanka. The foundation has been successful with their projects for the community, so I invite Brother Paul Smith, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Lasallian Foundation, and Mr. Tony Smith, who is the Chairman of the Lasallian Foundation, to provide us with more information about the success of their projects. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Sri Lanka Morning Show.
Thanks for having us.
My first question is to Mr. Tony Smith. What made you create such a foundation, and where did you get your inspirations from?
Well, you really need to go back about 360 years for the initial inspiration, when Saint Jean-Baptiste de La Salle in France brought a group of people around him and worked with the poor youth of France who had no chance of getting to schools. Okay. Since then, the de La Salle brothers are in 81 countries. They've concentrated on teaching, again, providing education for those who lack that access, who are marginalised. In Melbourne, we've got de La Salle Malvern, St Bede's, Mentone, that are de La Salle schools. But you probably find them working most closely with their initial ethos of working with the poverty-stricken, etc. If you look at the work of Boys Town up in Queensland and Kids Helpline, kids who were pretty desperate. So that's the sort of inspiration behind the de La Salle brothers. What they did before 2005 was respond to the Asia Pacific area in an ad hoc sort of way, so that if the tsunami, for example, had a lot of fundraising and sent money over there, and or they'd get a request for Papua New Guinea or India or Sri Lanka for school or school equipment, resources. But in 2005 they decided to formalise this, to increase the capacity to raise money, to get tax deductibility, all those things that an incorporated body would do. So we formed the Lasallian Foundation Asia Pacific.
The Lasallian Foundation has a number of charitable projects in Sri Lanka. Would you be able to provide us with a background about the organisation and the nature of the projects which are undertaken in Sri Lanka?
Yes, we work in two areas. There's formal education, and they're the big colleges we run. St Benedict's, de Mazenod, good examples of that. But there's also the informal education, and this is what we're really focusing on in Colombo. We work around the shanty towns, around Henamalla, and we've set up preschools for those. We're just in the process of building a technical vocational centre, and this will cater for the young men and women who have just fallen through the system, either because of inability to cope with the education, they've been displaced through the tsunami, through the war. They're living in pretty appalling conditions in shanty towns. They don't have the money for uniforms, books, and so they have just dropped out. We have a program called Lasallian Community Educational Services in Colombo that has provided, for about 25 years now, support to these. And this is now a more formalised approach. We're building a centre for the adults, for the young girls particularly, and a preschool. And we also involve young boys in technical vocational. The other significant work we do is Boys Town, and that's quite a famous name in Colombo, where we take in about 100 and just under 200 young boys. They were orphans, now they're just very needy ones who again have fallen through the system, and they do a 4-year course in technical industrial training, and all of them gain employment. So that's a very important one, and we've introduced over the last 2 years an agricultural program which has been highly successful.
Now, Brother Paul, what are your future plans for Sri Lanka beyond the current projects at the moment?
Our greatest challenge at present is working up north around Manor, Adampan, Nanatan. There we've been confronted with many youth, boys and girls, who because of the war have been displaced, have failed to be in education, and there's this huge gap for them, and their future is quite hopeless unless there's some intervention. So we're working on supporting and maintaining the schools that we have been able to keep going, but also building new ones. English medium schools, preschools, we call them kids campuses. We're in the process of looking at agricultural development, technical vocational development. We've got hostels for those who are now orphaned as a result. So there's huge needs, huge resources required, both financial but also in personnel and human resources. And that's a big challenge for us.
Tony, the viewers who are interested in participating and getting involved in your foundation, what are some of the opportunities gained from participating in any of the projects?
If someone's in Colombo or in Sri Lanka and wants to visit and have a look at what we're doing, we can arrange that. Paul can arrange that through his contacts. Of course, we welcome donations. We welcome people attending our sponsored events. We just had a great night on the top of Eureka Tower with Brian Brown, the Sydney actor, who came down. He's an old DLSL boy from Sydney. He came down and spoke about values and his experiences and what he saw his teachers had contributed to his life and how we could contribute.
And that was specifically for Sri Lankan projects. That was for the Colombian project.
So we raised $95,000 that night for Sri Lanka. Another important way is through networking. If people have contacts either here in Melbourne or in Colombo or in Sri Lanka, up north, wherever, that could be useful for us, please let us know, because that networking, those contacts are invaluable in our work.
A very practical way people can contribute is in the first 3 months of next year, we're going to fill a 40-foot container with product and machinery, tools, clothing to go to Colombo. And people could contact us through our foundation, and that would be fantastic.
Well, thank you for everything that you've done for the Sri Lankan community. Hopefully some of our viewers will be able to help you, and hopefully we'll get some donations as well. And I wish you all the best on behalf of Sri Lanka Morning Show, and hopefully I will be joining you in your foundation in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.